Why is it no question that the SEC can get two teams in the playoff? But when the Big Ten has two top five teams, it's one or the other. If it's truly the four best teams, division structure shouldn't really be a factor. Why is this not a road you want to go down with me, my friend? But let's do it. So I'm getting what I expected from Ohio State and Michigan. Remember, I was the one who predicted both of them to make the playoff and got laughed at in every corner of the SEC earlier this year in the summer. So I'm getting everything I thought I'd get from Michigan. I'm getting everything I thought I'd get. I thought they would play as undefeated teams. We're getting exactly this Saturday what I thought we'd get. The unfortunate part, and the part that's going to cost me my prediction, is the rest of the Big Ten didn't hold up their end of the bargain. Like Wisconsin, it's just got to be better. Michigan State's got to be better. Maryland, Iowa, Nebraska, they've got to be better. They've got to at least be average, if not above average. And there's no excuse, if you look at the current Big Ten standings, for the West to be in the state of disrepair it is. But I do want to get back to this question that Wise asked. I love this question. Actually, it wasn't even a question. He just suggested it, and man, is he so right. He said, if it's true that we're looking for the four best teams, division structure shouldn't really be a factor. Oh, you're so right, my friend. I'll take it a step further. I would suggest to you, conference shouldn't even matter. And that's where you step on a lot of toes. Because some people probably nodded their head at what you said. But then when I say what I said, they realize, oh, I don't want to go that far down that road. Because there are a lot of places around this great country of ours that realize, especially moving forward, their only shot as a conference in getting in this playoff guaranteed is having auto bids, is having the prevailing notion that two or three teams from the same division shouldn't have access to a postseason. You should have to win your division. You should have to win your conference, which in pro sports I have no problem with. I've always thought it was laughable in college football because you're suggesting in a disproportionately tilted sport towards the few, you're suggesting to me it's impossible that two of the four best teams couldn't just so happen to reside in the same imaginary geographical boundary on a map, which is ludicrous. Always has been. But in college sports especially, it's ludicrous. I would say conferences shouldn't even matter. But that's not the prevailing wisdom out there. And that's not the structure we're ever going to have here. So here's what I would tell you, Wise. The reason why it is acceptable in many minds for the SEC to get two teams in the playoff and for the Big Ten not to is you've got to go back several years. And you got to understand the equity that's been built up in the minds of most people when it comes to the SEC. The Big Ten, even though Michigan won the game in Ann Arbor against Ohio State last year and made the playoff, the Big Ten is viewed by many people when it comes to national championship contenders as Ohio State and then that's it. That's the end of the sentence. Whereas over the last decade or so, what have we seen? Over the last 15 years, we've seen LSU win multiple titles. We've seen Florida win a title. Bama's won several titles. Auburn's won a title. LSU, I just mentioned them. Georgia has won a title. People look at the SEC and think there are multiple players down there any given year. People look at the Big Ten and they say, it's Ohio State. And good for you, Michigan, for what you did last year. You weren't winning a title, though. It's just Ohio State. And so then they look up and down the rest of the list and they say, not only do we think that that's a one-trick pony up there, when it comes to title contenders, we also don't have respect for the strength of schedule they play. And that gets me back to that list. It is not Ohio State's fault. It's not Michigan's fault. It's not Penn State's fault, really. Penn State's been a good team this year outside of playing the top two. But when Nebraska and Iowa and Maryland and Wisconsin and Michigan State, when they are not playing at a higher level than they are right now, that's what you're stuck with. You're stuck with having to go undefeated or else have a lot of other dominoes fall. And I don't even think that's unfair. It's unfair. It's unfortunate, I guess, but I don't think that's even unfair. But here's what else I would say. This particular year, there's only one way the SEC's getting two in, and that's for Georgia to fall in the SEC title game to LSU. So you may not like that, but if you were to blind resume things, you would have to acknowledge, yeah, that's a little more fair. I mean, Michigan's schedule is what it is. Ohio State's schedule is what it is. It's not their fault, guys. It's not their fault, but it is. Like, it's not LSU's fault. It's not Georgia's fault either. So I get the sentiment-wise. I I know it's unprofessional to say it is what it is, but it is what it is. That's where we are. They have the power to change that. And they're making moves in conference expansion to change that. So maybe it's not that way forever.
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Make sure you like the video and please subscribe to the channel. Not just for me, that's how we keep this entire thing free.